Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Kerbal Space Program. We are on our first mission to the neighborhood of the moon's orbit, which we think, hopefully, means we will actually intersect with the moon, but there's a lot of guesswork on this, I must say. So I think all that's left to do at this point, we could, if we wanted, try to regularize our orbit a bit. We could, like, maybe burn retrograde to have this... I accidentally burned a bit too much and overshot the moon, but I think it's fine. We don't need to get out and look around. We just want to Did I remember to bring goo capsules? Did I think I was going to make it to the moon? I think I didn't bring any goo capsules, because we already have all the interesting science from other stuff. Yeah, I didn't bring any goo capsules. Well, having one of those on the moon might have been nice. But, okay. So I think what we want to do now is just time warp. It's going to be a while, Jeb. And I don't know if the moon's going to be there when you arrive, honestly. But we can hope. So it looks at the moment like we're overshooting it, but we're going to be getting slowed down by Kerbin. This will be going much more slowly at this part of our orbit, so I don't know if it would have shown us an encounter on this thing, or if that's something you need to unlock when you get more science or something. But we're going to get to the moon's orbit anyway. And if we miss this time, we can go back around. Leave Jeb in space for days and days. Honestly, it's only been a few hours so far for him, I think. I think this is counting how long it's been for the mission. Yeah. So, it's been 3 days since we started our space program, but the mission only started 3 hours ago. Yeah, it looks like we're going to overshoot, but... go faster. We'll be going pretty slow up at this point. Maybe it'll catch up to us somehow. I'm not sure what we did wrong. We clearly overshot by quite a bit. But if we do a few laps, maybe it'll catch up to us. Oh wow, we didn't overshoot by all that much, actually. We had kind of the right idea by having this in our sights and then thrusting. But it doesn't look like it's going to catch up to us on this lap. Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh! We were actually in the moon sphere of influence, and I missed it because I was time warping to go around for another lap. Oh well. So we did succeed at our contract. We flew by the moon. So that counted as an encounter, just barely. But while we have this orbit... What? What the hell happened, Jeb? We were plenty high. We shouldn't have crashed into anything. I don't know what this was all about. Hello? What happened? It just crashed into the planet. Huh. I mean, I'd kind of like to revert, but just because I don't know what happened. Like, the time warp went way faster than I expected, I guess. I feel like maybe the fact that I was doing a time warp, but if we got into the atmosphere, it's supposed to disable time warp, right? And then I would have time to adjust things, or at least try not to die. So I really don't understand. This doesn't make sense to me. But, I mean, I guess it's what happened, so... Yeah, it just, like, crashed into the planet with no warning. I guess we were just going too fast. Don't mess around with the super high values of time warp, I guess. Well, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that, Jeb. It means we don't get the science, but there wasn't honestly all that much from doing a little bit of high orbit stuff. I'm just kind of bummed that like this was how the episode had to start. We got our first sighting of the moon. Oh well. Revert to launch. Yeah. If we could revert to like, excuse me, to like 30 seconds ago, I would probably do it. But I didn't save. Like I don't know. I mostly do not want to use any of these time travel features, which is what save and load basically is. All right. Well, let's go back to the Space Center. We lost that ship, but you know we're on easy mode in the campaign. We'll get Jeb back eventually, and we missed some science, but not too much. And we learned a lot about how to fly to the moon. So what did we get here? We got a bunch of stuff about... Yeah, we flew by the moon and did a bunch of great things. Great. Yeah, picked up a bunch of money. Any closer and there'd be paperwork. Okay. Well, that's too bad. But we now have a ship that can get us into orbit towards the moon. It'll be a little bit harder without Jeb to pilot, but Valentina could use some experience anyway, learning how to handle SAS a bit better. And let's have a look at our contracts, I guess. Yeah, this is like super complicated stuff. But okay, so where do these tourists want to go? Orbit around Kerbin. So we could pick up a total of, I don't know, what is this, like, this one is 27,000 and this one's, you know, we could pick up like 30,000 bucks for sending a couple people into orbit around Kerbin. On the other hand, like, that's about how much it costs us to launch a rocket. So we're not really gaining that much for it. On the other hand, if we could, like, these 4 people all want to go into orbit around Kerbin, and they're willing to pay us like 30,000 bucks each. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, plant flag on the moon. That sounds real hard. We're not really ready for that yet. These guys, they want to fly by the moon. I don't know about that. But, I don't know, we could get into orbit with a couple of hangers on, probably. They all just want to get into orbit and back. So that's a pretty reasonable contract, I think. It means we have kind of a larger upper stage than we really need, but that'll give us room to make mistakes. Yeah, let's just do this. And go to the VAB. We'll save this advanced rocket. And we will also, we'll now make a copy of it called Orbital Tour Bus. And we'll just make a few adjustments to this to make it more suitable for that tourism mission. And then we'll sort of get back to the moon. The first thing to do is to rip this all out. We don't need any dang science in orbit. We've been there a million times. Instead, we just want, what is it, structural? No. And it's not payload. Comms? Science? Utility. So this can fit 2 people. And we'll just put 2 of them in. There you go. And we will take out, since we replaced one science thing with 2 crew things. We made the rocket heavier as a result. Although probably not a lot. How heavy is this? This weighs 1 ton. Probably the science thing weighs less than a ton. So we added actually quite a bit of weight to the upper stage. But what I'm planning to do is, what is really payload more than upper stage exactly? What I'm planning to do, by the way, I forgot to add a heat shield on the last rocket, so we would have been probably in some trouble even if we had remembered how to get home from space. What I want to do now is grab this engine here and just remove some of its fuel, so it just doesn't have as much in the orbital stage. And like, how much does that bit that we just removed weigh? 2¼ tons. So removing just 1 of those and adding 2 of these 1-ton things, right? 1 ton? Keeps things about the same as they were before in terms of total weight. We just need to adjust where we're decoupling. Yeah, I ripped out the science thing and I didn't put back the decoupler. So we need a decoupler here. But actually, before that, I need a heat shield, then the decoupler, then, whoa, then that. Okay. These parachutes did not work out as planned, honestly. Not sure why. At what height did we drop these? I don't know. I would like to recover these if I can. Can I put them in like a higher? No, it wouldn't make any sense. I could put them in a higher stage, but by that point these would have landed. I don't even know if you can control them. Yeah, okay. So this is the idea. We'll launch with tourists on board. And I think I'm reasonably confident in this setup. As long as it doesn't look awful on the launch pad, I'll put the tourists in it. If worst comes to worst, we can just decouple everything and, like, go for the parachute. Actually, there's a few things to change still. So it looks fine. It's not wobbling too much. But we need to put, like, more parachutes on the crew area. And I think that's the main thing. Now, like, we probably don't need these, right? But, you know, they're tourists. You want to be... You don't want that kind of PR. Alright. Anything else I should have? We already have fins, that's fine. Okay. So it's too bad we don't have Jeb's steady hand here. Oh, did I figure out which way is east, by the way? North is down. East is over here? So I think pressing up will send me down here on the nav ball. So pressing right will send me here. Okay. And that's the direction I want to go. Check the staging. Yes, yes, yes. Those all go off at once. We don't need much thrust on this. Turn on the SAS, and she only knows how to do stability assist, but that's plenty. Oh. Forgot to put any of the tourists in. I hope they won't react too badly if they're in a ship that, like, they have to evacuate. Alright, let's put in all these tourists. Very exciting. Save. And launch again. SAS on, throttle down. And, yeah, tourists can't EVA. It's too bad. They would have fun, I bet, being like on a tethered EVA or something. But I guess then they'd have to learn how a spacesuit works and all that. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and launch in 3, 2, 1, go. And east a bit. Whoa, that's a bit more than I meant. Okay, thank you. You've got it under control, Valentina. Apoapsis not too high, but it's fine, I guess. We'll tip over a bit more now. Really fighting me on this, huh? Let's keep that to the east. Oh, they didn't explode, I was going to say. Let's tip over a bit more now. How's our Apo thingy looking? Pretty good. Maybe point over like this much? Oh, not RCS. Turn off the SAS, please. I can't find the dang T button. And there. How's that looking? We're getting pretty high. Yeah, we seem to be able to get into orbit pretty reliably with this. 80K, sure, let's cut the engines here. We're gonna have a lot of fuel left over. But that's fine. This is, we can reuse this tour bus, perhaps, to do a... And our heading is still 91 degrees. Very nice. Didn't get too flummoxed there. Anyway, we can reuse this vessel with just slight changes for like a moon tourism or a moon visitation vessel, hopefully. I'm just kind of bummed about the fact that we don't seem to be... Oh, look! Orbital... Some debris landed at the launch pad, huh? Wonder what that was. Interesting. Well, here we are in space. Let's try to point towards prograde. And somewhat more importantly, I suppose, towards the horizon. Are we at Apoapsis yet? Not yet. 85 kilometers. That's pretty reasonable. Put on the SAS. Yeah, oh, we need to throttle up a little bit just to make it easier to pilot this guy. Okay. And let's just go full throttle now. Probably firing a bit late. Should have done it earlier. That's why we have all the spare fuel, right? I bet we could make this like one of the more efficient Rockomax things, or maybe this stage, I don't know. Our apogee is still like staying about the same, that's fine. This stage may get us into orbit all by itself? That would be nice. That would be a nice surprise indeed. We could give these tourists a real scare by sending them to the moon, but I don't think there's much need for that. And I don't know that we actually have the fuel for it. It looks like this is not going to do it by itself. Well, in that case, I'm glad we packed extra fuel. Let's throttle up that last stage. get pointed a bit more, like, towards... yeah. Yeah, this thing does not provide much... doesn't provide thrust very quickly. It's working, but not the most efficient way we could do it. It would have been much easier if we had started this burn much sooner. That's why our apogee is getting like so crazy high, is because we're not doing our burns soon enough. And we end up having to adjust our orbit at perigee here. How are these guys doing? We're not in orbit yet, of course. Can we, like, get a bit higher up this way? Is that working? Yeah, let's actually just try to get, like, away from the planet now. So we want to get into orbit. We don't need a sustainable orbit, really. This is not working out the way I would have liked. Okay, so we didn't actually quite get into a proper orbit, and we sent our apoapsis like into the stratosphere. We need to save some fuel, basically. So I think I should have stopped burning much sooner, because we had enough velocity to get us through the atmosphere and ensure we weren't coming back down. I should have waited when our apogee was still somewhere reasonable, like out, you know, 100 kilometers, not 1,000 kilometers. And then used that to adjust our perigee. So did we make it into orbit or what? No. Alright, well, let's warp here. And while we're up there... once we get up there, we'll do a slight burn to correct this to be above the atmosphere. Should have done this much more easily without having to go quite so far away if we had stopped burning sooner. I don't understand what this... oh, is this our line of communication to... I don't know. To the Space Center? And that, like, this line disappears when we're on the other side of the planet from it? That sounds about right, actually. That matters for some kinds of things, like having line of sight to the Space Center. For, like, if you want to do robotically controlling craft that's out by the moon, you know, you need line of sight to the Space Center or something like that. Okay, so let's try to get to retrograde here. Is this retrograde? Or prograde? It really is hard to tell, isn't it? Okay, so here we can see the planet. Which direction does it appear to be moving? Not very much at all. I suppose we could do a very brief, very small burn now and see what happens to our periapsis if we burn. It's going down. So we're facing the wrong way. That's fine. We'll just flip around. We want to raise our periapsis so that this counts as orbit. And that'll make the tourists happy, and then we'll come back down. Just bring that in for me, Valentina. Very good. And if we throttle up now, we should be raising our periapsis. Okay. That's 70-something thousand. That ought to do it. That ought to make him happy, right? Are we in orbit now? Yes. Everyone has been happy. We just need to get them home. So now it's time to do the opposite of that maneuver that we just did. Turn this bird around. And lower our periapsis back into the atmosphere. You would think that this, these tourists are very picky about what counts as orbit. Like, they knew, oh, no, our periapsis was 68 kilometers. We paid for the full 70. I'm not letting them get away with this. Ridiculous. Okay. And let's just go ahead and burn here. I'm gonna not burn all of our fuel, with the idea being that I want to come in pretty shallow and maybe, in fact, even bounce off the atmosphere and come back again. We're going to be coming in pretty dang fast if we try and plunge straight into the atmosphere from here. So doing one go-round to slow us down a bit would not be so bad. And we can, like, burn retrograde when we are at periapsis to slow us down some more, as well as the atmosphere slowing us down. So retrograde is the one with the things coming out of it and not going into it. Alright, let's not let what happened to Jeb happen to all these tourists. Okay. We're getting pretty close now, so let's orient ourselves to retrograde again. And burn again to slow ourselves down. Just expend the rest of our fuel on that endeavor to reduce the amount of re-entry stress that we have to deal with, I think is what we're doing. Maybe we're making things worse somehow, but I don't think so. Just hold it right there. Thank you. Just like that. And throttle up. Yeah, that's bringing us, lowering our apoapsis, which doesn't much matter because I don't plan to ever be out there again. But importantly, it's slowing down our orbital speed as well, so that it's not as dangerous to re-enter. Okay, we're done with that. See you later. And now we just need to keep the heat shield protecting us on re-entry, and this is a speed we've re-entered from before, so it shouldn't be too bad. We have extra parachutes because of the tourists, just in case, although I think we probably don't need them. And they just want to land safely. That's good. And we're like on the other side of the world from the... Oh, no, we're not. What is this arrow? I don't know. Weird. I think we're on the other side of the world from the Space Center, but I'm not honestly sure. Maybe it's here, actually. I don't know. Anyway, our periapsis is, like, inside the planet now. So, how high are we at the moment? 72. So we're about to re-enter. So I won't do any time warping, I guess. Just keep this pointed properly. What's our land speed like? 2200. I don't want us to get a reputation as a company for tourists, but you know, if we can make some money off of them, why not? Okay, now's the fun part. Try to keep it steady, Valentina. I wish she were as smart as Jeb and I could just tell her, keep it prograde, will ya? But no such luck. Well, let's keep the ablator just for fun. And I'm trying to keep it steady as well, but I don't think it. I think it should be fine even without my help. but just in case. Whoa! Whoa! Oh dear. Okay, we have become unstable in the extreme, and I can't really get it pointing the right way. Please don't kill all the tourists. Yeah, I can't get it pointed the right way. So just try to keep it stable, and we'll hope that we can survive all this re-entry stress. I don't understand, if these get full, do we die, or if they get empty? No, the tourists have all died, and the pilot has died. Ugh. I think we just had, like, too large a thing to re-enter with? Or maybe it was just too well balanced? Too, like, uniformly balanced? The center of mass was too close to the middle of it? I don't know exactly what caused it to flip around, but once it was flipped around, there was no getting it back. I think Jeb could have brought that ship home. And Valentina could too if I had given her better advice, I suspect. But we ended up getting flipped around, and there was nothing we could do. Sorry, rip in peace, tourists. Curiously, only one of them is marked as red. I'm pretty sure that they have all died. Yeah. It all happened at about the same time. The thermometer exploded first. Very funny. So we really, yeah, that thing has too low a tolerance. I think we should stop bringing that along. We didn't even remember to use it. Okay. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. I could revert this, but, you know, this is all about, we opted into career mode, and we want to see, like, if we can keep the Space Center solvent. And if we have some disasters like this, that's just the way it is. If we decide that, like, we want to do more space exploration and we don't care about all this stuff, then we can easily open up a career mode game with unlimited money and not worry about these contracts. So while we are playing with limitations, let's obey them, even though we're given the option not to. Head over to the tracking station and see if we can pick up a few bits and pieces. Oh, it's all in flight. But on its way down. Okay. Sure. If these had parachutes, they'd be okay, I feel like, but they clearly don't. Nope. They're all disappearing. Alright, well, that's a shame. Wait, what is this all about? Is it telling me about the planet? Escape velocity is 3,400 meters per second. SOI? I don't know what that is. Atmosphere goes up to 70 kilometers. Huh. Okay, well, I don't know what this is all about. Perform an orbital survey. I don't know how to do those. But whatever. Not terribly important. Yeah, our contract has ended. And we lost 12 reputation. We killed all the tourists. Yeah, sorry. But they're going to pay us for having made it to orbit before they died. Alright. Mixed results is what I will declare on this one. Cool. Well, that all happened, and we're sort of down on pilots, aren't we? Or did Jeb come back while we were out? He didn't yet. But I think if we wait a day or two, he'll be back. And our reputation is, I don't know, green? How do you measure what it is? Just like is something. I don't know. Yeah, we killed the tourists. Lost 12. But we've been picking up quite a bit. We'll be fine. Okay, great. Well, that's the end of this episode, I guess. A bit of a downer to end, to have 2 failures in one episode, actually, right? We killed Jeb at the beginning of this episode trying to get to the moon. I think that was this episode. And we killed these tourists, trying to get them back to the planet. Oh well. Bad luck. May our future endeavors go a little bit more well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.